The night had arrived. For weeks he had prepared for this evening, one of the most important nights in his career. The red carpet stretched out under bright lights that shone like tiny suns, illuminating every step he would take. Cameras flashed in rapid succession, capturing images of actors, directors, and celebrities dressed in their finest. Fans lined the barriers along the edges, waving, cheering, and holding signs that showed their admiration. There was excitement in the air, a buzz that seemed to move like electricity from one corner of the event to the other. He arrived wearing a classic black tuxedo, perfectly tailored to his frame, and as always, his calm and confident presence seemed to draw attention effortlessly. He had walked this path countless times before, but each event carried its own energy, its own challenges, and its own opportunities. Tonight, he wanted to focus on the celebration, on meeting old friends, and on honoring the hard work of fellow actors and crew members who made the movies people loved. As he stepped out of the car and onto the red carpet, flashes erupted around him. He smiled, waved to fans, and greeted photographers with his characteristic warmth. Even as the cameras clicked and flashes blinded him for brief moments, he moved with a natural ease, as if he belonged to this world, yet somehow remained apart from the chaos surrounding him. People admired his poise, but behind the composed exterior, he felt the familiar mix of excitement and nerves that always came with high-profile events. He reminded himself to stay present, to enjoy each conversation, each handshake, and each moment. Fans shouted his name, some jumping in excitement when he waved or nodded. A few had traveled long distances just to see him in person, and their enthusiasm was contagious. He noticed a young fan holding a handmade sign, the words trembling slightly on the paper, yet filled with love and admiration. He crouched down for a brief moment, smiling warmly, acknowledging the effort, making the fans' day in a way that no photograph could fully capture. These small interactions reminded him of why he continued to engage with people, even after decades in the industry. It wasn't about fame or attention. It was about connection. As he moved further down the carpet, fellow actors greeted him with hugs and friendly pats on the back. They laughed together, sharing inside jokes and memories from past projects. The camaraderie was genuine. The bonds formed through long hours on set, through shared struggles and shared triumphs. These moments gave the night a personal touch, making it more than just a spectacle. Behind every smile and every laugh, there were stories of hard work, dedication, and the relentless pursuit of a craft that demanded both creativity and discipline. Photographers continued to call out, asking for poses, and he complied with practiced ease, always maintaining the perfect balance between being professional and being approachable. A group of journalists waited with cameras and notepads ready to capture a quote or a reaction. He nodded politely, giving thoughtful answers that were candid but respectful. He spoke about the joy of being part of projects that touched people's lives, about the excitement of collaborating with talented artists, and about the responsibility that came with being in the public eye. Each word was carefully chosen, yet it flowed naturally, reflecting both his experience and sincerity. As he approached the center of the red carpet, the crowd seemed to grow even more animated. Security personnel flanked him, their presence steady but unobtrusive, ensuring that everything remained controlled. He was aware of the thin line that existed between accessibility and personal safety. Over the years, he had learned to navigate it with care, respecting fans while also maintaining his boundaries. He had seen situations where things could quickly spiral out of control, and he knew that even the smallest lapse in attention could create tension. Tonight, he was vigilant but not anxious, focused but not tense. The atmosphere was electric, filled with music, laughter, and conversation. People discussed their outfits, the latest movies, and industry news. Amidst this excitement, he moved gracefully, his presence both commanding and comforting. Young actors looked at him with admiration, while veterans nodded in respect. He was a bridge between generations, a figure who had seen the industry evolve and adapt over decades, yet remained grounded and approachable. His humility and professionalism were evident to everyone around him, making him a figure who inspired both peers and fans alike. As the night progressed, he found himself in small clusters of conversation. He talked with a director about an upcoming project, sharing ideas and discussing creative possibilities. He offered encouragement to a young actor about a challenging role, providing insights drawn from experience while always listening attentively. showing that even in a world filled with egos and competition, genuine support was possible. These interactions, though brief, were meaningful, leaving an impression that went beyond the surface glitz of Hollywood. Yet, even as he enjoyed these moments, a sense of caution lingered. He had learned to read situations, to sense when things were slightly off, and though the evening was supposed to be about celebration, he remained aware that unpredictability was always a part of life, especially in the public eye. For now, however, everything seemed under control. Smiles, handshakes, and polite exchanges continued. He felt the warmth of admiration from the crowd, the appreciation of his peers, and the quiet pride in being part of an industry that had given him so much. As the red carpet eventually led to the grand entrance of the venue, he took a moment to inhale deeply. The sounds of cameras and cheers faded slightly as he stepped inside, where the lighting was softer, the crowd more intimate. The evening ahead promised speeches, awards, and moments of recognition. But even here, in the quieter moments backstage, there was an undercurrent of anticipation. He reminded himself to stay present, to engage fully with each interaction, and to appreciate the significance of being part of a night that celebrated art, dedication, and creativity. He paused for a brief moment near the entrance, adjusting his cufflinks and straightening his tie. The reflection in a nearby mirror caught his attention, and he allowed himself a small smile. This was more than just an event. It was a culmination of years of hard work, of late nights on set, of challenges overcome, and of moments that demanded resilience. It was a night that reminded him why he had chosen this path, why he continued to pursue excellence, and why he remained committed to his craft. Then, as he moved forward, the excitement of the evening returned in full force. Fans cheered, cameras clicked, and the hum of conversation created a lively backdrop. He greeted each person with respect, each fan with warmth, and each colleague with genuine interest. The night had begun as it always did, filled with sparkle and expectation. Little did he know, however, that amidst the glamour and applause, the evening would soon take an unexpected turn, testing not just his composure, but his ability to handle an unforeseen challenge in a world where admiration and intrusion often walked hand in hand. For now he continued forward, embracing the celebration, unaware of the twist that awaited him, yet fully living in each moment, each laugh and each handshake, the essence of a night that promised both joy and the unexpected. As the night moved on, the glow of the chandeliers and soft music inside created a different kind of excitement from the flashing lights outside. People laughed, clinked glasses, and moved between groups, sharing stories, jokes, and congratulations. Denzel walked among them, exchanging smiles and handshakes, greeting familiar faces and meeting new people with the same calm, approachable manner that had made him admired by so many. It was a celebration of achievement, of talent, and of perseverance, and he soaked in the warmth and energy of the room. Yet, amid the conversations and laughter, something caught his attention. Across the room, a figure appeared, moving with determination, eyes locked on him. At first, it seemed like just another fan or perhaps a journalist trying to get closer. But as the person approached, Denzel sensed a tension that was unusual. The individual was not blending into the crowd or casually trying to engage. They were moving with persistence, ignoring the subtle cues that would normally indicate personal boundaries. Security staff noticed as well, stepping slightly closer, keeping a watchful eye while allowing the guest to circulate normally. Denzel continued his conversation with a colleague, but there was a slight unease now, a feeling that something was not quite right. He had encountered unexpected situations before, moments when admirers had pushed too far, or when a misstep could create tension, but he had always managed to stay composed, navigating these encounters with calm and professionalism. The person finally reached him, attempting to speak directly, leaning in closer than was appropriate. At first it seemed like a request for an autograph, a quick question, or perhaps an attempt at a brief conversation. Denzel responded politely, keeping his tone friendly yet firm, making it clear that there were boundaries that needed to be respected. However, the individual did not respond as expected. Their persistence grew, and the comments began to feel more personal, intrusive, and uncomfortable. It was subtle at first, almost imperceptible, but it gradually became more direct and aggressive. Those standing nearby began to notice the interaction. Fellow guests who had initially been engaged in their own conversations now turned their attention to the scene unfolding. Some were curious, others concerned. Recognizing the awkwardness and potential danger, security moved closer, gently attempting to intervene, but the person seemed undeterred, focused entirely on Denzel, ignoring instructions and social norms. The mood shifted slightly, the light-hearted energy of the evening giving way to an undercurrent of tension. Cameras, still flashing occasionally, captured glimpses of the scene, a stark contrast to the celebratory images that had dominated the night until now. Denzel maintained his composure, using every skill he had developed over years of public life to remain calm. He spoke in measured tones, attempting to redirect the individual politely, offering a smile that was meant to diffuse the situation. The response, however, was not what he expected. The person's behavior grew more insistent, and for the first time that evening there was a tangible feeling of discomfort. He signaled subtly to the security team, who were trained for such scenarios, and they began to move closer, forming a discreet barrier while still trying to maintain the dignity of the event. As the exchange continued, other guests began to quietly adjust their own movements. Conversations paused, eyes flicked toward the unfolding interaction, and a subtle ripple of concern moved through the room. The individual attempted to invade Denzel's personal space further, making comments that were inappropriate and persistent. It was clear that this was no longer a simple misunderstanding. The behavior demanded careful attention, yet he remained composed, projecting calm and patience, while security worked to manage the situation without drawing unnecessary attention or causing alarm among the other attendees. The individual was finally guided away gently by the security personnel, their arms firm but not aggressive. There was a brief struggle, subtle but noticeable, as the person resisted the instructions. Denzel remained still, his focus steady, waiting for the situation to be fully under control. The crowd around them resumed its previous energy slowly, but a sense of awareness lingered. People now recognized that even in a room full of celebration, unexpected challenges could arise, testing the ability to handle them with grace and patience. Once the individual was removed, Denzel took a moment to collect himself. His heart rate had increased slightly, a reminder that even the most composed people can feel the immediate effects of tension and unease. He thanked the security team quietly, acknowledging their professionalism and swift response. The experience, though brief, left a lasting impression. It was a reminder of the unpredictability of public life, the thin line between admiration and intrusion, and the importance of maintaining poise under pressure. Back in the center of the room, he rejoined his colleagues, friends, and fellow guests, trying to shift the focus back to celebration. Conversations resumed, laughter returned, and the evening continued, yet the incident was not entirely forgotten. Those who had witnessed it were reminded of the challenges faced by individuals constantly in the public eye. The balance between accessibility and personal safety was delicate, and moments like these emphasized its importance. Denzel, ever mindful, used this as an opportunity to demonstrate professionalism and calm in the face of unexpected challenges. He spoke quietly with a few close colleagues, sharing his perspective and expressing appreciation for the swift handling of the situation. There was no anger in his words, only a clear understanding that events like these could happen to anyone. It was a moment of reflection, a chance to consider the human aspect behind every public appearance. The applause and excitement of the evening continued around him, yet he moved with an added awareness, more conscious of the space around him and the need for vigilance without letting fear overshadow the joy of the celebration. As the event progressed, he found moments to interact with fans and guests, more mindful than before but still warm and approachable. The previous incident, while unsettling, did not define the evening. Instead, it became a subtle reminder of resilience, of the need to remain composed and empathetic, and of the importance of balancing kindness with self-protection. Denzel continued to engage, laugh, and celebrate, embodying both grace and strength, showing that even in the face of unexpected challenges, dignity and calm could prevail. By the time the awards segment began, the energy in the room had shifted back to celebration. The incident, though fresh in memory, was now a backdrop to the ongoing festivities. Denzel focused on the joy of being part of a community that valued art, collaboration, and perseverance. He watched colleagues receive recognition, applauded achievements sincerely, and participated in the shared excitement that defined the evening. It was a night of highs and lows, of unexpected turns and moments of reflection, a complex tapestry that mirrored the unpredictable nature of life itself. Throughout it all, he remained present, attentive, and composed. Each interaction carried meaning, whether it was a congratulatory handshake, a shared laugh, or a brief conversation with a fan. The evening, though momentarily interrupted, continued with its rhythm and celebration, reminding everyone of the human experience at the heart of the glamour. For Denzel, it was a night that combined joy, challenge, and reflection, a powerful reminder that even amidst fame and celebration, resilience and grace were essential qualities. As the segment concluded and the next portion of the evening unfolded, Denzel allowed himself a quiet sense of accomplishment. He had navigated a tense situation without losing composure, demonstrating professionalism and empathy, and reinforcing the importance of respect, boundaries, and awareness. The night continued, filled with laughter, applause, and celebration. Yet beneath the surface, the experience lingered, a subtle but meaningful reminder of the unexpected challenges that life and public appearances could bring. He moved forward with patience and dignity, embodying the balance between accessibility, personal safety, and the grace required to navigate moments that tested both heart and mind. After the incident on the red carpet, Denzel moved toward the quieter areas of the venue. The hallways behind the main room were less crowded, lit with soft, warm lights, and offered a chance to catch a moment of peace. He walked slowly, taking deep breaths, trying to shake off the residual tension that lingered after the encounter. Despite years in the public eye, the unpredictability of human behavior never ceased to surprise him. In these quieter moments, he reflected on the fragility of personal space and the importance of handling unexpected challenges with care. Backstage, the atmosphere was different. It was a place where performers, crew members, and organizers moved with purpose. Staff were adjusting details, checking schedules, and making sure everything ran smoothly. Denzel was greeted by a few familiar faces who smiled warmly and welcomed him with nods and quiet words. He appreciated these small gestures, the reassurance that in moments of stress he was not alone. Even brief moments of acknowledgement reminded him that the support of those around him could make difficult situations easier to navigate. He found a quiet corner near the lounge, a place where he could gather his thoughts. Sitting down for a moment, he reflected on the encounter, analyzing what had happened and how it had been managed. The individual had been persistent, crossing lines that should have been respected. But the professionalism of the security team and the calm demeanor he had maintained helped prevent the situation from escalating. He thought about how easily a moment could have turned chaotic and how important it was to remain composed. Even when faced with discomfort or intrusion, the experience also reminded him of the many layers of being a public figure. On one hand, there was the joy of recognition, the connection with fans, and the opportunities to inspire others. On the other hand, there were moments of vulnerability when admiration crossed into intrusion. The balance between accessibility and personal safety was delicate, and each situation required careful judgment. In his career, he had learned to navigate these situations with patience, empathy, and a sense of calm, but each encounter added a new layer of understanding. While he was reflecting, a colleague joined him quietly, offering a comforting presence without intrusion. They discussed the event so far, the projects people were working on, and the excitement of the night. These conversations, casual yet supportive, reminded him of the importance of human connection. In a world often filled with cameras and flashes, moments of genuine conversation and mutual understanding were grounding. They allowed him to regain perspective and reaffirmed the value of trust and support from those around him. Later, as he stood to move toward the next part of the event, he noticed that staff members had taken extra care to ensure smooth passage through the crowds. Security personnel, who had handled the previous situation with professionalism, were now even more attentive, discreetly guiding guests and making sure boundaries were respected. This showed him that challenges could lead to improvements, that even uncomfortable moments could result in better preparation and awareness for the future. Denzel also reflected on the role of communication in such situations. The way he had addressed the individual, calmly, politely, and firmly, was crucial in preventing escalation. Words, tone, and body language all contributed to de-escalating the tension. He considered how these skills were valuable not only in moments of public exposure, but in daily interactions as well. Maintaining composure, setting boundaries respectfully, and conveying authority without aggression were lessons that extended far beyond the red carpet. While waiting for the awards segment to begin, he took a few moments to observe the people around him. Young actors and crew members were buzzing with excitement, eager to see the stars and celebrate achievements. Some had witnessed the earlier incident and seemed slightly more aware of the unpredictable nature of such events. He admired their enthusiasm and reminded himself of the importance of nurturing the next generation, showing them by example how to navigate both challenges and celebrations with grace. He also took a moment to reflect on the role of empathy. The individual who had caused the disturbance may have been struggling with their own emotions, desires, or misunderstandings. While their actions were inappropriate, maintaining a sense of empathy helped him respond without anger, preserving dignity and respect. This perspective allowed him to balance firmness with understanding, ensuring that the situation was handled responsibly and without unnecessary conflict. As the awards segment began, he moved back toward the main hall, joining the flow of guests and taking his seat. The energy in the room was shifting again, this time focused on recognition and celebration. Applause echoed through the hall, speeches were made, and winners were announced. Despite the earlier disruption, the evening continued with its intended spirit, highlighting achievement, talent, and collaboration. Denzel engaged with the moments fully, appreciating the accomplishments of others while maintaining his own composure and focus. Throughout the remainder of the evening, he continued to be mindful of personal space and interactions. He greeted fans with warmth, participated in conversations with peers, and remained attentive to the flow of the event. The incident, while unsettling, became a subtle backdrop to the celebration, a reminder of the unpredictability of public life and the importance of resilience. Each handshake, each smile, and each conversation was approached with renewed awareness, balancing engagement with self-protection. In quieter moments, he spoke briefly with event organizers, discussing ways to improve safety and ensure that future events allowed both enjoyment and security for all attendees. These conversations were practical, forward-thinking, and focused on creating positive outcomes from challenging experiences. It was a reminder that difficulties, when approached thoughtfully, could lead to improvements and lessons for the future. By the end of the awards segment, Denzel felt a sense of accomplishment and reflection. He had managed the incident with professionalism and empathy, navigated the complexities of the evening, and remained present in moments of celebration. The experience reinforced his understanding of the balance required in public life, the importance of boundaries, and the value of composure under pressure. It also highlighted the significance of support from colleagues, security, and staff, reminding him that even in moments of unpredictability, collaboration and preparation were essential. As the night began to wind down, he moved toward a quieter exit, pausing briefly to acknowledge the remaining fans and photographers. The evening had been a mix of excitement, challenge, and reflection, a complex blend that mirrored both the glamour and reality of public life. He left the venue with a sense of gratitude, aware of the lessons learned and ready to carry them forward into future appearances. The incident, though momentary, had added depth to the evening, reminding him of the human experience at the heart of fame and recognition, and the need to approach each challenge with calm, empathy, and strength. After the night of the event, the incident that had unfolded on the red carpet quickly became a topic of conversation among fans, journalists, and people across social media platforms. News outlets shared images and short clips highlighting the brief moments of tension. The story was presented in various ways. Some focused on the disruption, some praised his composure, and some speculated about what had happened. Denzel watched as the coverage unfolded, aware that in today's world even small incidents could quickly gain attention. He remained calm, taking time to read and understand the perspectives being shared while keeping his own thoughts grounded. Social media users expressed a wide range of opinions. Some shared admiration for how he had handled the situation, praising his patience and professionalism. They appreciated that he did not react angrily or with hostility, maintaining his dignity and composure throughout. Others discussed the need for better security at public events and reflected on the challenges that come with fame. Through it all, Denzel observed quietly, mindful of the ways in which people perceived events differently based on limited information. It reminded him that public life was both a privilege and a responsibility. Journalists reached out for interviews, seeking his perspective. In each instance, Denzel spoke with thoughtfulness and care, emphasizing the importance of respect, boundaries, and safety in public spaces. He reflected on the incident without dwelling on fear or negativity, highlighting instead the value of understanding, empathy, and the need for preparation at events where large crowds gather. His words were clear, calm, and sincere, and they resonated with both fans and industry colleagues alike. He wanted to ensure that the focus remained on positive lessons rather than sensationalism. Interviews and press statements also included expressions of gratitude toward the security team and event staff. Denzel made it a point to acknowledge their professionalism and quick action, emphasizing how their presence ensured that the situation did not escalate. He spoke about the importance of teamwork and support behind the scenes, reminding people that events of this scale required coordination and trust among many individuals. His recognition of their efforts reflected his understanding of the human effort behind the glamour, and reinforced the idea that every role, visible or not, contributed to safety and success. Fans continued to share their thoughts on social media, posting messages of encouragement and admiration. Many recounted personal experiences of attending events and reflected on how important it was to maintain a respectful attitude toward public figures. Some fans expressed relief that the situation was handled calmly and responsibly, appreciating the balance between approachability and safety. Denzel read some of these messages, feeling gratitude for the support and understanding shown by those who admired him. It reminded him that while challenges were inevitable, they could also serve as opportunities to educate, inspire, and model positive behavior. Colleagues in Hollywood reached out privately, offering words of support and reassurance. They recognized the courage it took to remain composed in front of cameras while navigating unexpected situations. Many shared similar experiences from their own careers, creating a sense of solidarity. Denzel valued these exchanges, as they reinforced the idea that even in an industry known for competition and visibility, there was mutual respect and understanding. These connections reminded him that human relationships, trust, and empathy were as essential as talent and skill. The media coverage also sparked broader conversations about public safety at high-profile events. Organizers, security personnel, and attendees reflected on what could be learned from the experience. Discussions centered on improving safety measures, ensuring that personal boundaries were respected, and maintaining the celebratory atmosphere without compromising security. Denzel supported these conversations, using the opportunity to highlight the importance of balancing access and protection, reminding people that public spaces required both enjoyment and awareness. He also reflected personally on the role of empathy in public life. The individual who had caused the disruption may have acted out of excitement, misunderstanding, or personal struggles. While their actions were inappropriate, responding with anger would not have been productive. By maintaining calm and patience, Denzel demonstrated an alternative approach, showing that firm boundaries could coexist with understanding and composure. This lesson extended beyond celebrity life into everyday interactions, emphasizing that challenges could be met with dignity and thoughtfulness. As the days passed, Denzel noticed that the incident became part of a larger conversation about respect, kindness, and awareness. Fans, journalists, and peers discussed how admiration should not override personal boundaries. It was a moment that highlighted the human side of fame, reminding people that public figures experienced emotions, vulnerabilities, and challenges just like anyone else. Through his measured response, Denzel helped guide the conversation toward thoughtful reflection, rather than sensationalism. In addition to public reactions, he received messages from individuals who had been inspired by the way he handled the situation. Some shared personal stories of facing difficult circumstances and how they found encouragement in his example. Others reflected on the importance of calm, respectful communication and setting boundaries in their own lives. For Denzel, these messages were a reminder that influence went beyond the screen or stage. It extended into the way he interacted with others, demonstrating character and integrity. Amidst all the attention, he remained focused on his work and personal projects. He continued attending meetings, engaging with colleagues, and planning future roles and initiatives. The incident, while significant, did not define him or his career. Instead, it became a moment of reflection, learning, and connection. He appreciated the opportunity to show resilience and professionalism in the face of unexpected challenges and to inspire others to handle their own difficulties with grace. The public reaction also emphasized the power of storytelling and perspective. Different narratives emerged from the same incident, and Denzel understood the importance of contributing to the conversation with clarity, honesty, and authenticity. He was mindful of how words, actions, and attitude could influence perception, and sought to ensure that his response reflected both his values and the lessons he wished to convey. As the attention gradually settled, Denzel felt a sense of closure regarding the incident. The immediate tension had passed, and the broader discussion now centered on learning, safety, and respect. He continued to engage with fans, colleagues, and media with a sense of purpose, emphasizing positive takeaways and reinforcing the idea that even challenging experiences could lead to growth and understanding. Through his calm, empathetic approach, he demonstrated that public figures could navigate difficulties while maintaining dignity, professionalism, and humanity. Reflecting on the events of the night and the days that followed, Denzel recognized the duality of public life, the joy of connection and recognition alongside the unpredictability of human behavior. Each interaction, each challenge, and each moment of reflection contributed to his understanding of both himself and the world around him. The incident on the red carpet, while unexpected and uncomfortable, became a catalyst for dialogue, awareness, and personal growth. It reminded him that resilience, empathy, and composure were not just traits for public life but essential qualities for everyday human experience. By the end of the week, the story of the incident had shifted from sensational headlines to thoughtful discussions about boundaries, respect, and safety. Denzel's calm, measured response continued to resonate with fans and peers alike, providing a model of how to handle unexpected challenges with dignity. It became clear that even in moments of discomfort and uncertainty, human-centered responses, grounded in empathy, patience, and awareness, could create positive outcomes and meaningful impact. Through the public reaction, Denzel also saw the importance of reflection and self-awareness, handling attention and admiration responsibly. Setting boundaries and responding with empathy were lessons not only for celebrities, but for anyone navigating complex social situations. The incident highlighted the significance of personal integrity, the value of support systems, and the potential to influence others through calm, thoughtful behavior. As he continued his work, appearances, and personal projects, Denzel carried the lessons of the evening with him. The public's response, both supportive and reflective, reinforced his understanding of responsibility, influence, and the human dimension of life in the spotlight. The incident, once a moment of tension, had evolved into an opportunity for connection, insight, and guidance, showing that even challenges could be transformed into meaningful experiences that shaped perspective and action. In the weeks following the event, Denzel found himself reflecting deeply on what had happened. The experience, though brief, had left a lasting impression on him. Each time he thought about it, he considered not only the immediate circumstances but also the lessons that could be carried forward into his life and work. He realized that public attention, admiration, and even unexpected challenges were all part of a larger human experience. Fame brought visibility, opportunity, and responsibility, and this incident had reminded him of the delicate balance required to navigate it effectively. He thought about the importance of composure and self-awareness. When faced with the aggressive behavior of a fan at the event, he had managed to remain calm, respectful, and patient. He recognized that his reaction was not just a reflection of his own character, but also an example for others. People, whether in the media, industry, or among his fans, had observed his response and drawn lessons from it. It was a reminder that every action, even small ones, could have ripple effects that extended far beyond the moment. Denzel also reflected on the role of empathy in the situation. The individual who had approached him may have acted out of excitement, misunderstanding, or personal struggles. By remaining patient and not responding with anger, he had been able to maintain control of the situation while still showing understanding. This awareness reinforced the idea that compassion and firmness could coexist. It was not about excusing bad behavior, but about responding thoughtfully and responsibly, maintaining dignity and respect even under pressure. The incident had also strengthened his appreciation for the people around him. Security personnel, staff members, colleagues, and friends had all played crucial roles in managing the situation. Their support had ensured that he could continue to engage with the event without fear or disruption. It reminded him that no matter how experienced or capable one might be, collaboration and reliance on others were essential. The human connections that provided safety, guidance, and encouragement were invaluable, and he felt a renewed gratitude for them. In addition, the experience inspired him to consider the broader implications for public events and community interactions. He thought about how organizers could improve safety measures, how guests could maintain respectful behavior, and how the industry as a whole could foster environments that allowed for celebration without fear. These reflections were practical and proactive, aimed at turning a challenging situation into an opportunity for learning and growth. He wanted to ensure that future events could be both enjoyable and safe for everyone involved. Denzel also used this time to engage in conversations with colleagues and peers. They discussed not only the specifics of the incident, but also broader topics about handling stress, maintaining composure, and supporting each other in public life. These discussions were filled with insight and shared experiences, highlighting the ways in which individuals in the industry had faced similar challenges. He valued these exchanges as they provided perspective, encouragement, and a sense of solidarity. Knowing that others had navigated comparable situations made him feel connected and reassured. As he continued his work, Denzel remained mindful of the lessons he had learned. In meetings, interviews, and public appearances, he approached interactions with renewed awareness. He paid attention to boundaries, listened more attentively, and responded with empathy and patience. These adjustments were subtle but meaningful, shaping the way he engaged with people and reinforcing his personal commitment to professionalism and human connection. The experience also led him to reflect on his own personal growth. He realized that challenges, even uncomfortable or unexpected ones, could serve as catalysts for development. Each situation provided an opportunity to practice resilience, composure, and empathy. By approaching difficulties thoughtfully, he had been able to transform a potentially negative experience into a positive reflection on his values, character, and approach to life. It reminded him that growth often came from the moments that tested patience and understanding. He also considered the role of communication in shaping outcomes. The calm, measured words he had used during the incident had been crucial in preventing escalation. He understood that tone, body language, and clarity all contributed to the way interactions unfolded. This insight extended beyond public appearances into personal and professional relationships, emphasizing the importance of thoughtful communication in maintaining respect, resolving conflicts, and fostering understanding. Fans continued to reach out, expressing their support and admiration. Many shared stories of how they had been inspired by his reaction, how they had applied similar approaches in their own lives, and how they appreciated the example he set. These messages reinforced the idea that influence was not just about fame or visibility, but about actions and character. By demonstrating patience, empathy, and composure, he had impacted the way others approached challenges, reinforcing positive behavior and human-centered values.